Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam, Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So this is the final week of just a brief glimpse as we learn about permaculture, and particularly permaculture from an Islamic perspective. And then in this final week, myself here in the UK and brother Hamidur, which will then come on in Bangladesh, we're just going to look at the concept of the edge in relation to permaculture. It's a lot to unpack, but the edge in terms of permaculture is, in essence, where two ecosystems meet. And where two ecosystems meet, it could be where the forest meets grassland, it could be the ocean meets the beach. So two water meets land, two ecosystems meet, and that's where it becomes more fertile. That's where it becomes more productive. So in our permaculture design, that's very important in our design, in how we design and then plant. But likewise, from a social permaculture perspective, when we're looking at us, we need to also follow that same understanding. So this edge area, which is key, that's what we also call is the transition zone. So in Heartsea, we focus on this journey that we are on, from transition to transformation. So this edge, okay, is a highly active area of energy. There's a lot of material constantly fluctuating and moving. So between two ecosystems, and in a way, they come together, they interlock, and it generates then habitat and life to then start in a third way. And so this creates more connections. And so you can begin to sort of understand in this whole journey that we do in Heartsea in relation to the sit spot. Okay, as we learn more about the sit spots and we go through an understanding of ecological thinking and increase our awareness through our sight and our hearing, we start to map and we start to look at those connections instead of things in isolation. Remember, so permaculture is not to see things in isolation, because the whole of the world and also whatever is within us is all connected. So an edge, in essence, means a border. But because we are predominantly 99.99% of humanity over in the left brain hemisphere, it's completely overtaken our world. Everything is contained within borders in our political, our economic, our environmental, our education system, and even our national parks, our gardens. Everything is borders. It's square, it's rectangle, it's triangle. Okay. And we want to mow the lawns, to keep straight lines. This is not the natural world, but this is how we think. This is how we observe, because we are in the left brain hemisphere, and so this need to move over to the right brain hemisphere in order to connect those borders. Okay, so things can move between the borders. If we just look at national parks now, all the big famous national parks in whatever country, there's borders now, where there was a time when migration, animals would move across. Now there's borders, and that creates all the conflict between creation and also humans. And so it's because of this left brain thinking, this dominant control, that sadly we are in. So if we just look at it from a social permaculture perspective, so it starts with the self, and it starts with that zone 0-0. And so when we begin to look at permaculture, which is a design mechanism in design, we also have to learn about patterns. And so we learn about nature's patterns, we learn about behavior patterns in the natural world with different species. And those behavior patterns also mimic our patterns, cycles of stress, cycles of anger, cycles of hate, cycles of addiction, and some things are healthy and some things are not good. And so this also involves our interaction with other people. And that's why when we look at those that want to set up their intentional villages, their eco villages, to go off grid and to live in a community, alhamdulillah, which connects to the hadith of the Prophet, and many non-Muslims are doing this, that research has shown, though, that although there's a wealth of experience and expertise, they predominantly break down, not because of the expertise, but because of this breakdown in relation to social permaculture. Okay, and that's, in fact, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that He will not change the condition of a people until they change it as within themselves. So we need to change ourselves, okay, in order before things can also happen outside. So the zoning is very important, but the edge effect also. So if we just if we look at social permaculture, and so this edge, okay, remember, so you understand, an edge, it has a boundary around it, but we're living in such difficult times and in this left brain hemisphere that we predominantly just want to stay in our comfort zone. Okay, but remember, the edge is about moving out of that comfort zone and expanding out, and obviously, the world, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, that He has created everything as an ummah in the natural world, and we as humans as well also live in society. So we have to learn to integrate, we have to learn to communicate. Okay, there's a difference between integration and assimilation. And so we just look at the human personality. You have an extrovert, some people are extroverts, some people are introverts. And so you can get clashes of personality, okay, because they're sort of protecting their sort of edge, they're protecting their sort of boundaries. So it's about learning to have your stronghold, but also to come out of that sort of boundary and move into areas which is beyond your comfort zone. If you just took an organization, a business, even within your own family, within your community, we all, alhamdulillah, we all have strengths and we all have weaknesses. So if we just look at those two groups, introvert and extrovert. So some of us are naturally outspoken, and we're full of enthusiasm and motivation, so we are reformers. Some of us look on data and we want action, we want results, we want deadlines. So some of us are in a form of becoming like directors. Some are act and are happy to take on roles of change agents because they have that motivation skills. Some are inspirers, okay? Some just want to help, okay? So they are more helpers than perhaps becoming a director. Some just want to come out of their comfort zone a little bit and just support. And then there's others that like to coordinate, okay? And there's others that just like to observe and just understand that whole. But they all work within a whole. No human is the same. And part of the role of Khalifa is to understand that our role is to support all of humanity, and it means all of the varied members of the community, but also all of the communities in the natural world also. So this edge effect, okay, is also within the body. There's no, in the human body, there's no straight lines, there's no triangles, there's no squares, there's no rectangles. If we explore the brain, we go into the stomach and the intestines, everything is working in accordance to the edge. It's trying to stretch out, it's trying to use as much space as it possibly can. So that's very important in understanding how the natural world works, in order for us within permaculture to learn how to and to learn how to plant. So let's just give you another example. So in Surah An-Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhan nasu ittaqu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum min nafsin wahida. Okay, so here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, oh, those who believe, revere, fear your Lord, who has created you from a single soul, created you from Adam and Hawa. Okay, so if you look at the Quran, divided, there's the Meccan surahs and the Madani surahs. So how does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala communicate to humanity? Sometimes in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will refer to the Muslims, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, those who believe. And then sometimes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will refer to the disbelievers, the Jews. Okay, we have to know who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is actually communicating to. And then, for example, in this ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, is communicating to Ya ayyuhan nas, to the people. So if we look at the Meccan period, where there were no believers because the religion was just coming down to the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the majority were disbelievers. So that the majority of the ayat in the Meccan verses that were being revealed was Ya ayyuhan nas. But then, after the hijrah from Mecca to Medina, when the Islamic State is establishing its ground and expanding, then obviously there we have different tribes, we have Jews, we have Christians, we have the Muslims. So there's different groups, different religions, all now living in one community, but under the banner of Al-Islam. And so here, in this particular ayat, in Surah Nisa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing all of them, Ya ayyuhan nas. Okay, not just the Muslims. And here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, all people, revere your Lord. Ya ayyuhan nas ittaqu rabbakum alladhi. Okay, revere your Lord. So that here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, doesn't matter if you're Muslim, Christian, whatever you are, revere your Lord who has created you. Because now the Muslims are in a wider community, okay, of different people, different personalities, and different strengths. And they all now have to work in harmony, okay, to help that community grow. So this is a great lesson. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, whoever you are interacting with, it doesn't matter who they are, Christian, Jew, atheist, whatever they are, most importantly, that individual that you are interacting with is a creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and comes from the same mother, okay, that all of them came from, the mother and father, Adam alayhi salam and Hawa, subhanallah. Okay. Another example here is in that hijrah from Mecca to Medina. So you had the Ansar and you had the Muhajirin. Two communities come together. One was coming out of Mecca, okay, with one understanding, one concept, different personalities, leaving everything behind, and then another group that's based in Medina. And here the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought them, subhanallah, together with different personalities and connected them together with all that love, okay? And so it explains in many ways that every single human being has different strengths, has different weaknesses, but then how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was using, okay, the Muhajirin with the Ansar, bringing them together with their strengths, with their weaknesses, and to then embed them together, but also embed them in this new society with Christians, with Jews, with disbelievers. In the same way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses the people in Medina, Ya ayyuhan nas, where normally that would be an address to the people in Mecca. And so when we look at any aspect within our family, our society, the masjid, the business world, we have to look at our strengths and our weaknesses. And it's about creating the ideal environment. So we, like in permaculture, we are becoming designers. Our whole life, we are all designers. It's not just in relation to the land-based aspect. We are all designers. Okay, the strengths and weaknesses between the husband and the wife, between the brothers and the sisters, the aunts and the uncles, and the wider community, and within the workplace. And it's about when you're taking a project forward, for example. Okay, it's about using your strengths. You might be an introvert, okay, and you might have to work with an extrovert. You might be a motivator, and you have to work with someone that has skills as a director. And it's about trying to work with each other, knowing those limits. But and again, it's like two completely different ecosystems, a forest and say grassland, coming together, and it accelerates and establishes that third new system. So it becomes three. These new ideas, this passion and ideas come alive, and then they can then go forward. So in the same way that we would establish a permaculture land-based design and grow, in the same way we need to focus on that in our social permaculture, in how we interact. So here, when we talk about the ayat in Surah An-Nisa, Ya ayyuhan nasu ittaqu rabbakum alladhi. So here, Allah is saying, you are all different. Some of you are believers, some of you are disbelievers, but the foundation, okay, the platform to grow as a community is fear Allah. Whether you're a Christian, whether you're a disbeliever, whether you are Muslim, fear Allah, because of what? You are all from the same mother and father. Once you've got that established, which means respect, okay? It is about respect. It's about justice. It's about harmony. You are all equal, okay? So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to create everyone as Muslim, then that's no problem at all. But the foundation level is this new community in Medina with different strengths, weaknesses, different personalities needs to flourish, okay? And there's no compulsion in Islam, but the main thing is justice, harmony, okay? Work with individuals, whether they're stronger than you, they're different intellect, work with each other, understand and respect, okay? You are all equal in the eyes of Allah, apart from who are the believers, but to establish a society. And that, from an Islamic perspective, is where social permaculture is different completely to any other form of social permaculture that you might read about on any or course that you might want to join. And this is the reason why 99.99% of intentional communities break down, because of this ego. Okay, it's all to do with this ego, the I, the self. Okay, you know, so and this is the left brain hemisphere. It's just focused on the I. I am the director. I am the dictator, and what I say and what I do goes. And so, irrespective of all your skills, okay, I am the extrovert, you're the introvert, and I then dominate. No. That's not how it works. Everything has to work together, and everything interlinks. So this is the importance why social permaculture, okay, has to be learned for land-based, and understanding that concept of the edge. Okay, the edge is the most fertile area, not just the land base in what we're looking at and studying and wanting to look at to design in order to plant, but the edge is also important. Okay, so So you look at your children, you look at your family, look at their areas of expertise, look at their areas of weakness, okay? And then join them up with individuals that can challenge them, that can come with ideas. You come up with this idea because you're a motivator. You come up with this idea because you can plan and you're structured and you like to sort of operate in the data. And data is important, okay? We can't get away from that. But it's about bringing different skills, okay? So it cultivates, it fertilizes and with new ideas. So then you can take those ideas and then take them forward, okay? And make that change. And that's how social change happens. That's how you transform a whole piece of land through permaculture, okay? It's a design mechanism. And that is how change happens as well. And so that was the lesson. That's one of the many, many lessons that we get from the beginning of Surah Nisa, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was addressing, okay, all of the communities, all of the backgrounds to the people in Medina. You are now going to be living together. It's controlled by Muslims, and now you need to work together to make this whole community grow, design the community and make it grow in harmony with all of your differences. Work together, but fear Allah, knowing that don't abuse justice, okay, between whoever you are working with, but working with each other for the good of the whole humanity. So if we just recap on some of the slides, Brother Hamidur. So edges are boundaries, but these are the most fertile areas to work with, okay? Whether it's the edge in your piece of land or it's the edge in your personality and your skill set, okay? Next slide. Edge is the place of transition, okay? Our focus is the journey of transition to transformation, all right? And so the edge is absolutely crucial, absolutely crucial. We need to move away from this boundary, okay? This left brain hemisphere that says, no, I'm rigid, there's a hard boundary here, and everything is in parts, and I won't cross that boundary. And I'm just thinking about me. I'm just thinking about I, which is the ego. No. We have to take the edge, and we have to push it and come out of that hard boundary. Okay, and that's what's causing the problems, as I said to you early on. For example, with all of these national parks, the Serengeti, and you can talk about Botswana, Kenya, Uganda, parks in the UK, hard line boundaries in squares. This is completely unnatural. And this is where the third principle of Heartseed comes into play, which is the rewilding. No, it's about bringing communities together. The communities as in not just humans, but all of Allah's subhanahu creation. It is about rewilding. It is about bringing biodiversity together. It's about bringing ecosystem together, so this edge effect can actually take place. Okay, next slide. An edge example. So there's the physical, and then there's the mental as well. Know your strengths. Okay, play to your strengths, whatever they may be, but don't stay within them. Okay, change happens by interaction. Okay, take the human. Okay, we have our endocrine system, we have our circulation system, we have our nervous system. They're all systems, and they operate, but they have to operate together. Okay, and understand on the edge, there's no, even in our body, there's no straight lines, there's no squares, there's no rectangles. There's no triangles, there's no squares, there's no rectangles in the natural world as well, okay? If we look at the key pattern that we see within ourselves and within the cosmos is the pattern of branching. And that is the pattern which connects to edging. It's trying to connect and to fill every gap possible, but in a positive way, okay? So it's where two people come together with different skills, different expertise, different strengths, and they work together in collaboration, all right? They find that middle sector, like two circles coming together and create that semicircle. Okay, that's where it's going to fertilize. Okay, next slide. And edges are the fertile areas for growth. And this is the whole point of Heartseed. Okay, if we just remain in the left brain, we won't see those connections. Okay, edges are where we bring the parts, okay, together. Okay, so what can we grow in this particular area of our garden? How can I stretch, okay, to go that piece of land to go into that particular corner? What can I grow there? Okay, my piece of land ends, and then there's a water. Then the river starts, or the lake starts, or the stream starts. I guess what can I do there to connect those two ecosystems? And that's why the first principle of Heartseed is about observation, is about interaction, going out in the natural world and seeing how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation is working through the natural patterns, and then implement them on your land. But those patterns as well, you're going to see within you, and that's how we need to interact also within society. Okay, and the conflict that we're in today with humanity is that it's all about me, it's all about the self, it's all about the success today is not about the introvert. The success today, unfortunately, it's about the personality of the extrovert, dominating, powerful, okay, dictating. No. Okay, and so what an example there in Surah An-Nisa when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is addressing in Medina, Ya ayyuhan nas. Okay, alhamdulillah. Good. Next slide. An edge is a process of change. Okay. And for us as humans, it takes a little bit of time to come out of our comfort zone. Okay. This is my comfort zone. I know who I am. But come out of your comfort zone. There might be times, for example, we're trying to push you to establish the outdoor madrasa. So you're happy to seek the knowledge, to absorb the knowledge, but actually starting it, actually taking the lead. I'm an introvert, then it means I've got to be a motivator. I've got to be more of a director. It just takes a bit of encouragement, okay? But look for that support to help you, okay? And that's what it's all about, okay? The process of change, okay? Comfort is the old place, the old edge, okay? And this new place is where two completely different separate systems, personalities meet, and they create something amazing, okay? And that connects very much to the role of the polymath, okay? Where they connect different skills, different experiences, different areas of expertise, and they connect them together, okay? And the world wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the polymath. And we understand, and we should understand, the role of the polymath and its relationship with the ulama. Next slide. Okay, so inshallah ta'ala, just pass you over to Brother Hamidur. For me, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah khairan, Sheikh. Alhamdulillah, it was a very nice starting of this beautiful topic, age effect and or border effect. So I will now actually try. I will try to connect this subject with Sheikh, the way Sheikh actually started from social permaculture perspective, and the most amazing thing is how we are connecting it with Islam. So now I will go in a bit with the landscape concepts, and also in a more depth way, or in a more like in slides and other things, you will see that yes, how these things actually occurs in nature and also in human life, how they are gonna connect. So Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalam ala nabiyil amin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa barik wa sallam. So here actually starting with landscape permaculture, land-based permaculture. So the first thing we start is with ethics, and then with principles. Ethics is the foundation, and principle is the actual like pillars and bricks over that foundation. So with last week we have discussed about three ethics and their links to permaculture, links to Islam. And now today, we are not actually talking about every bit of the principles. We are just talking about one principle, which is the 10th principle of permaculture, using the ages and valuing the marginals. So for this topic, actually, so we have to connect it with the founders, Bill Mollison and David Holden, how they actually understood the thing, like using ages and valuing the marginals as a permaculture principle. So from Bill Mollison and David Holden, they have explained it like they are the interface of two distinct environments, where particularly you will have an exchange zone. So two word is coming actually, that two distinct ecosystems interface. Okay, two ecosystems gonna create an interface. They are gonna overlap, and there will be an exchange zone created there. Um, it- so first of all, going to the zone in like age effect, aging, these principal things. The most important theoretical part is coming, that the age or the border effect. So the age effect or the border effect is when two ecosystems, they are gonna actually interface, or they are gonna overlap each other. But from the picture, we can see that here two circles. At the right hand side, we can see that two circles, they're actually pointed as A and B. So you will see species as like in three colors: red, blue, and yellow, which are actually shaped uh, different from the circle B, where the circle B, where you will see they're actually the colors the same, but the shape is different. But when they are actually coming to an exchange zone, uh, so what is that exchange zone, and between which systems we can see these ages actually creating? This age can happen in the boundary, okay, or in the interface of two biological communities, like between forests and grassland, or between landscape elements like land and water. We can also see it beautifully in the natural worlds, in the mangrove forest, where you will see that uh, that shore and ocean, like sea areas, they are actually coming together. Okay, and also you can see it in the world, like in the soil, that upper part of the soil, which is about 20 centimeters thick, and its interface and its actually with the sun and the earth actually, and also uh, building a terrestrial ecosystem there, okay, and making in abundance. So the place here we can see there's these within the boundaries of these in the ages of A and B, this place, this whole pink place is called in ecology ecotone or the exchange zone or the transition zone. Okay, so that in ecotones actually you will see that they are actually integrating uh, species from these two overlapping ecosystems, but also they are gonna actually um, so they are gonna attract different species for these individual ecotones. So the most interesting thing is that ecotone is creative. That ecotone is gonna be an unique place for unique species also. So you are going to get these three species there also, like you will gonna get six species, but also you are gonna get three more from outside. And according to this uh, ecotones environment. So two distinct environment, when they are coming together in a middle, uh, in the middle of this thing, along these ages, boundaries of the ages, you are creating something very new, okay, with the actual characteristics from A and B, and also a new thing's gonna happen, okay, and they are gonna attract new species also there. So it's a very amazing thing, like in the systems also, in designing or in ecology and other things. That's the more fertile uh, place and the most effective place gonna be, and it's a very different place also. That's gonna create diversity there, and also like you will get diversity. You will get that most valuable resources from there, and also you will get productive things from there. So that's a very productive system. Okay, so this ecotone, you're gonna increase your species and it's gonna be a very productive place. So in like this this gonna happen when water and land is coming. They're gonna actually overlap. These two different ecosystems gonna overlap. We also see it in like two estuaries in the river. So when they are actually coming together, okay. So also in forest lands, and they are also their border clearings, we can see these. And also in the river banks, we can see that also the pond, uh, the ages in the ponds and the like forest land or agricultural land. You can see in the ages you are getting different species, also diverse species, also abundance of species. So if you can create these things much more in your design and in your system, in your agricultural systems or in your farm, or also the most amazing things and also interesting thing is you can also create it in your social aspects, okay, also working as a group, also work also in an individual's intellectual thinking or individual's knowledge gathering. Like if you can actually have exchange zone in your knowledge, that you are exchanging with different two or three subjects, you're gonna get a very fertile a very productive knowledge base. So when you will solve problems, you can solve different problems with your different skills. So your skills also gonna create a productive place. And also in your families, uh, in also in your in your lives with your wife, and in your family members, with your brothers, and also in the social aspects. You can see that this whole system, when different characteristics and different intellectuals or different skill sets are coming together, you're gonna see a very you will get the that essence of two different characteristics in that ecotone, in that place where ages are actually meeting. Okay, so also you will get something new there. So um, it's a very interesting way, or a very productive way, to create abundance in your farm, or in your life, or in your family, or in the society. So what is most important thing is, in permaculture we consider nature as our teacher. So from that teacher we are learning it. Okay, we are learning it, that age effects, how it is creating abundance, how it is creating diversity, how it is actually producing so many things. Okay? It's giving us, it's teaching us these things, and with these amazing teachings, we are applying it in our life, in our social structures. So everything is integrated. Okay, everything is systematically integrated. So you are not actually thinking in a reductionist way. So why this is important? Why age effects is important? Why we shouldn't confine it only in agriculture? Okay, only in building farms and land-based permaculture. We also need to implement it in our social life, in a person's life. Also, it's gonna affect gradually our like our national levels also. So that's a very important thing. So how we are seeing permaculture and age effects, and how this nature is teaching us these things, actually shows us that if we want to make changes, difference should be treated with respect and justice, and interactions are very important. So we have talked about the exchange zone. So ages, they are gonna meet, they are gonna overlap. Two different ecosystems gonna overlap, and they are gonna create a fruitful place, a level playing fields for everyone, where they will exchange, they will, and where transitions will happen. A person's gonna change, ecosystem's gonna change, and create a different thing. So that's a very in the middle of the ecosystem, two distinct ecosystems, for a water ecosystem or a forest ecosystem, they're different, and they in the middle of them, that ecosystem's gonna be different from the ages. So when you are actually moving away from the comfort zones, you are gonna find that most effective places of yours. So not only confining yourself on the comfort zone, okay, trying to move, trying to explore something new, okay, so which are gonna actually bring values to your life. Also in natures, as a designer, as a permaculture designer, so we have to look for this. So that's gonna be very important for us. So so this exchange zone, when this age effect, and we are learning from nature, we are gonna implement it as a designer. First of all, from a permaculture, land-based permaculture perspective, we are gonna implement it in our land. So we have talked about social things and our individual things. Now, just I'm gonna briefly talk about how we are gonna actually implement it, how we can see the applications in the environmental realm, or also what outcome we can actually expect from these age effect. So in design, if we think about an outcome, what outcome we are gonna get from age effects and from actually valuing the marginals. Uh, that outcome will be like small and different can be vital. We will start to understand that small things and different things can be vital. So not only always looking for big places or only valuing the big things and also abandon things also a person who has many much more, and what is always conventional, looking for that comfort zone, that conventional zone, that's sometimes and always not gonna bring that what we want as a community, or that's not gonna bring change. Okay, for change, for a better impact, we should and we have to actually understand that small and different can be vital. So that's a possible outcome we are going to get from these principles of permaculture. And also, what we have to do as a permaculture is that we have to look for age spaces to increase abundance and diversity. So we will have some sort of outcome from this principle, and so this is an important thing. And also we will get like we have to search for diversities and abundance, which is our actually as a designer we want to create. For this we have to look for ages. So looking for ages is a principle which is an important thing. And also as an outcome we will get that small things and diverse things and different things are also vital. So we I will just today briefly show you just an example, like in a pond, in a circular pond. The way we in this age we see only circular things and rectangular things. Okay, so but here you can see that pond area, which is always the same, that 100 square meter. But if uh, if we can actually pond age is like 35 meter, but if we change the ages actually with pattern, which is very important in designing, and also actually implementing the ages pattern is very important, like creating this pattern using these patterns of nature. Okay, we are actually increasing ages, so we are actually increasing places for interactions, for overlapping, or more places for overlapping, more places for interface is actually created. So we will have more abundance than the conventional size of a pond, a conventional shape of a pond. Okay. So your area is always same, but just only creating ages, you are going to get abundance from there, also going to get diversity from there. So that's the thing. So only not just in a conventional way, you are thinking that I have to grow my produce, I have to increase my produce, I have to increase my yields, I have to increase my crops. Okay, so you are thinking that yes, for that we I have to go with industrial agriculture. I have to apply fertilizers and pesticides which are gonna actually destroy diversity. Okay, so that's a reductionist thinking. Yes, only to increase my crops and yields, I have to actually implement external energies and external like supplementaries. But see, with these studies of nature and with these studies of patterns, you are also gonna bring abundance here. You are not going to actually implement fertilizers or pesticides. Okay, just creating that ecosystems or that ecotone in your farm or in your design, and actually mimicking nature, you are gonna actually develop or gonna find um, or gonna increase your production. Okay, so There's so here what happens is that pond circumference, we can double it actually by just without changing its shape. Okay, we are not going to change the shape. So thank you so much. That was today's discussion. So what we try to actually deliver in these three consecutive permaculture talks 3, 4, and 5. You can see that we have actually gone for an integrated effort. So our integration was actually seeing it holistically. So when you are going for permaculture for a land-based thinking, you are thinking in a system, but still it's actually limiting your seeing and thinking. But as a Muslim, okay, and also actually as our problems are not only environmental problems, not only agricultural problems. Agricultural problems are not only the factors. We have social problems also, which are going to affect our agricultural things. Okay, so they are always interlinked. So we, as a designer and as a Muslims or as a citizen, okay, as a human being, we have to go for holistic thinking and we have to actually try to deal with problems more, okay, and see them more in a connected way so that we can actually change them. We can do something to change the situation of this world. So if we want to change these these systems of problems, we have to go with systems of solutions. We have to think about solutions as a system, and our perspective have to be much more wide. So from only just from this land-based thinking and land-based observations, the way you are actually changing your thinking patterns, that you are thinking now more in a systematic way, not only in a linear way, not only thinking about economic things and economic benefits, but also you are thinking about your health, your family's health, and also you are thinking about your social health. And after that, you are going to a national level, and that's going to affect actually. That's going to bring change in your national level gradually. But you have to start from you and actually observing the nature and how it's gonna bring change. Okay, how Allah is gonna teach you through nature that what how you can bring change in your life, in your own ecology, also in your family's ecology, and also in your social ecology. So our thinking criteria and area is increasing. So what we want from Harsi and all our courses, as we are going to actually, inshallah, introduce some courses in permaculture, we are not gonna only teach land-based permaculture and land-based concepts and principles and other things. We will, inshallah, will try to bring an much more holistic approach, like how we can also integrate it with social things and Islam also. So we can have a bird's eye view. Yeah. So not only dealing with land-based things, so that we can connect with different sort of people, different uh, uh, peoples who think differently, and different peoples can come together. And in organizations, they can come together. In family, they can come together. In agriculture sectors, they can come together. In health sectors, they can come together. So the thing is changing the thinking process, changing the heart, changing the thinking from linear to systems thinking is the most important thing. And that's the thing we are trying here in Hershey. And in our permaculture talks, we are talking about that. So that's gonna bring change, inshallah. So I want, if I want and I urge our audience. So this is not only about just teaching you some techniques and concepts. This is about just reminding you our thinking process should change. Okay, if we want to bring impact in our life, in our social life, and also uh, if we want to change or see change, or one day our next generations are gonna bring change, we have to change the thinking process. Okay, we shouldn't see in a reductionist way. We have to see in a holistic way with the both hemispheres. Jazakallahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.